Here is your current job, and on the other side is the dream job of an IT project manager with all its treasures. But in between there is knowledge, experience and skills gap. How do you bridge it? So, if you want to become an IT project manager but you don't have experience and you don't know where to start, this video is for you, because I'm going to share a proven strategy. And notice I say strategy, not a set of random tips that kind of might work for you. Then I'll explain one critical mistake all aspiring project managers make. It kills all your chances of getting a job in a new position. After that, I'll show you what you need to do with your resume to get the first job as a project manager. I'll also explain what certifications and training may help you get a better job offer, even if you don't have any experience. Moreover, I'll explain the best approach that will help you gain project management experience that you don't have right now. Last but not least, I'll share one resource that will help you master all aspects of project management without spending lots of money and time. Alright, first of all, what is that most critical mistake that all aspiring project managers make? Obviously, you need to get from one side to another. But if you fall short, you won't get a job and you will stay in the same place of your career for many years, just like all these guys here. And all of them made the same mistake. They believe there is a magical trick to get from one side to another. Maybe there is an education that makes you a great project manager, or maybe there is an entry-level job that you can take and then become a PM. All of them were wrong. Unfortunately, it's wishful thinking and a desire for an easy workaround. So people spend a lot of time and effort to find this magical solution. But the solution is entirely different, because the fact is, becoming an IT project manager without experience follows the same hiring principles as any other career advancement. And the biggest blocker here is the experience chicken and egg problem. You need experience to become a project manager, but at the same time, you have to be a project manager to get that direct experience. But don't worry, it's a common challenge that you will see across all leadership roles. And it's a challenge that you must overcome to prove you can lead people. That's why you must understand the difference between direct, relevant and indirect types of experience. So if you work as a project manager, you gain direct experience. But if you work, for example, as a team leader, general manager or any other role that requires collaboration, you will have experience relevant to a project manager. You can also get indirect project management experience when you find and execute some initiatives, but you try to use project management approaches. And it's a very broad category that doesn't have any standards. Obviously, when you don't have the direct experience, you must substitute it with relevant and indirect experiences. And the secret here is that these experiences work well for any project management role. So now the main question: why does my strategy of becoming an IT project manager without direct experience work so well? That's because I interviewed hundreds of project managers and I understand the hiring process on a deeper level. Once you understand the hiring process as I do, it will make so much more sense. So again, whether you are searching for a new job or you want to change your profession, everything follows the typical hiring process. Okay, if you are distracted or multitasking, get back to me. That's arguably the most important thing you must remember from this whole video. The typical hiring process starts with a job description. So let's assume it's an entry-level project manager role, like a junior PM. So this job description has specific requirements. You may see something like this. In most cases, employers want to see previous experience in project management, strong leadership qualities, and excellent communication skills. But ask yourself, what actually happens when you apply for this job? Well, obviously, you send your resume to a recruiter, or maybe you apply with your LinkedIn profile. And here's the most critical question. When a recruiter picks your resume, what do they see in it? Do you position yourself as a perfect candidate for a PM role? Or do you position yourself as a good expert in quality assurance? Or you position yourself as a technical support engineer, or business analyst, or whatever your current role? And here's the catch. If you position yourself, for example, as a QA engineer, you have zero chances to get a role of a PM. Recruiters will most likely even discard your resume, thinking you accidentally applied for the wrong position. You must realize that any job opening attracts several hundreds of applications. What's even worse for you is that some of them will have project management experience. And right now you must be thinking, okay, what can I do about it? I'm a tech support engineer. I can't name myself as a project manager. In this case, stick with me. As I promised, there is a proven strategy. Let's get back to our installation for a second. So how can you get from one side to another? And the answer is simple. You can build these stepping stones from indirect project management experience. And that's the secret behind the proven strategy. The stepping stones will help you to get your dream job of an IT project manager. But how does it look in practice? What does it mean in the real world to build these stepping stones? The first step is to create a brand new resume. This resume will position you as an aspiring project manager. It will contain only experiences and skills relevant to the role of an IT project manager. In the second step, you need to rewrite all your previous unrelated experiences from other jobs in terms of accomplishments in management, leadership, communication, and organization. Step 3 is to strategically and continuously close experience and skill gaps with micro projects. Step 4 is to continuously apply for project management jobs to develop interview skills and test your resume. Alright, you might have hundreds of questions now. How to write a new resume? What do you need to put in your resume? What is a micro project? And how to pass an interview? And so on and so on. Unfortunately, if you try to implement those steps yourself, you'll waste lots of time on trial and error. That's why stay with me here, I'll provide you with best practices for each step of the process. So the first step is to create a new resume that literally screams that you are an aspiring project manager and you have the required skills. I have a proven resume structure that I tested throughout my career, and in short, here's what you need to do. You must spell out that you are a project manager multiple times on the first page of your CV. You must point out that you applied for the right role, that you have the right skills and talents multiple times. So there is no doubt that you are a perfect candidate for this exact role. Alright, but do you have ethical and professional rights to title yourself as a project manager when you have no experience? This brings us to several critical considerations. First, what is our resume? And second, who decides what our job titles are? So, hear me out here. Your resume is an advertisement of your talents and skills. Likewise, a resume shows how you want to position yourself in the job market. At the same time, it lists your qualifications and experiences supporting your selected position. Again, a resume is not a catalog of job titles that previous employers gave you. You can position yourself as you like. Think about a vacuum cleaner TV commercial. For example, they position this vacuum cleaner as the best option for cat owners. So they list all the features and capabilities that help collect dust and hair. But at the end of the day, it's your job to assess those features and capabilities and decide whether they work for you and your cat. And the same happens with your professional development and career advancement. First, you say you are a project manager, and second, you truthfully list out all your talents and skills. And after that, a recruiter must assess whether you are a good fit for this job or not. So, what does it mean for you? For example, you might be a technical support engineer for the last 3 years. And it's totally fine to position yourself as a potential project manager, because you will truthfully highlight qualifications important to a PM role from your technical support engineer experiences. But here's a tough question. When is it okay to title yourself a real project manager? And here's the secret. You can title yourself as an aspiring project manager anytime you want. There are no standards here. And just to be clear, aspiring project manager means you have no direct experience in managing projects. At the same time, you may position yourself as a junior project manager if you can support this title with at least some experiences relevant to project management. And we'll discuss how to do it correctly in just a few minutes. Likewise, you might be an accidental project manager. It means your title might be something completely different. However, in practice, you manage people and they do projects according to the standard definition of the project. In this case, you can name yourself a project manager. And if you describe your experiences and accomplishments correctly, you may consider applying for mid-level positions, not entry-level ones. So, at the top of your resume as a title, you want to put your full name and the job title you apply for. And yes, you heard me right, you must put the title you are applying for, not your current position. And here there might be several variations. You can simply put an aspiring IT project manager, but as much as possible you must match the job title to the job title in the job description. So if it says software project manager, you will put aspiring software project manager. If it says technical project manager, you will say aspiring technical project manager. Okay, next we have the summary section. And here you must accomplish two things. You must reiterate that you are a project manager, that you applied to the right position. And the second is that you pass the main criterion. And the main criterion is usually the number of years required for this position. So as a result, it may sound like this. I'm an aspiring IT project manager with 4 years of experience in the IT industry. I have excellent communication skills as I interacted with hundreds of customers. Additionally, I have proven experience organizing and managing people. Alright, usually the next section should list all the required skills and qualifications. Here you have a neat table that lists all the skills mentioned in the job description. And again, you must reiterate that you are a project manager. That's why, the first one should be as simple as project management. Then you can list out that you understand the main frameworks, that you know the tools. So everything that will position you and communicate that you are the best candidate for this role. And if we are talking for an entry-level role, it's okay to mention areas of expertise that you have only theoretical knowledge. Even if you never used Jira but you tried it out, even if you never run this Kanban yourself, but you know the theory of Kanban, it's totally okay to put it here. And next we move to the professional experience section. Here you need to list out your job titles and responsibilities. And remember, we must write only experiences relevant or related to the job you apply for. And now you might be thinking, nice Dmitro, good job, we got all this way here and it will be a blank page. What can I put here if I don't have any direct project management experience? Don't worry, I've got you covered. There is a proven way to quickly gain indirect experience or simply recollect relevant experience from your previous jobs. And I'll explain how to do it in just a minute, because first we need to talk about certifications that may help you get a PM role. So first of all, there is a low-hanging fruit in the IT industry. It's the Scrum Master certification. And usually it takes about 2 days of training and a simple exam. A good live training with a good coach will cost around $2,000, but we can find very cheap online alternatives as well. And the secret here is that most project managers act as Scrum Masters in the IT industry, so it's a good skill set to have. Next we have entry-level project management certifications like CAPM and Prince2 Foundation. Here's a catch you must know. If you live and work in the UK, you should go for Prince2. If you live in any other part of the world, you should go for CAPM. Both certifications have no prerequisites. That's good, but they cost a lot and the exams are quite difficult. So you have to take a training course and study for the exam. But here's the problem I see with all certifications, and it circles back to the hiring process and applying with your resume. So as a result, you can proudly put the name of certification here, maybe mention it here below, and maybe one more time you can put it in certification sections. And basically that's all. And here's the thing I want you to understand. If you go this lazy route where you get the certification and just slam it into your old CV, you have zero chances to get a role of a project manager. You must create a new resume of a project manager which lists the qualifications and skills of a project manager. Only then this certification will add extra bonus points for you. But also keep in mind that both CAPM and Prince2 are purely theoretical courses. And it's a serious problem. These courses teach project management approaches that no one uses in the real world as is. Project management simply doesn't work that way. As a result, it will be very hard to pass an interview because the interviewer will see you have no practical experience or even understanding of how things work in the real projects. That's why you should consider my Practical IT Project Management online course. It doesn't have that worldwide recognition, but instead it will help you pass an interview. And now we're getting to the second and third steps of our strategy. Here you need to fill out the professional experience section of your resume. So, the worst case scenario is when you create a new resume for a project manager, but you have nothing, absolutely nothing to put into your professional experiences section. For example, you work in a call center and you literally sat on the phone the whole day. So obviously you won't recall any project management experience. I will sound like a broken record, but adding more certifications to your old resume won't help. Likewise, there is no workaround here to pass the recruiter's screening without related experience. That's why in such an unfortunate case, you first need to get into an environment that allows you to gain indirect project management experience. Otherwise, your only hope is pure luck. I want you to remember this critical idea because it's important and it's an unwritten rule for any leadership role. And in the IT industry, people are the most valuable asset. So employees will not allow a random person to manage their most valuable assets. That's because you can quickly kill their motivation, you can destroy the working relationships, and these people will start complaining and eventually quit. That's why you must gain experience in leading people without any title or authority. That's because great project managers never use titles or authority to lead projects. So you can treat it as a professional competence test. It's a quest you must find a way to fulfill before someone entrusts you with a leadership position. So how can you get an experience that will count as a relevant experience for a project manager? An experience that will show you have the required skills and talents. First, there is a lazy approach. You can position yourself as an assistant project manager. So if you work in a project management environment and you have a project manager around, you can help them perform some tasks. For example, collecting and writing reports, managing Jira or any other tool you use, conducting regular performance reviews, and so on. The more responsibilities you take, the better. If you can handle those additional tasks, two things might happen for you. First, you may try to ask for a promotion to a junior PM role inside the organization. Second, you gain the ethical right to call yourself an assistant project manager, and you can apply directly to assistant and junior project manager roles. This approach may get you the first project management role in as little as 6 months. So you don't need years to gain that experience. But again, you might not have an opportunity to work in a project environment. In this case, you should find opportunities to invent your own projects at your workplace. So consider the standard definition of a project: a time-limited endeavor that aims at creating a change, product, service, or specific outcome. This definition covers a broad spectrum of activities that we consider as a project. That's exactly why so many accidental and unofficial project managers exist, and they can quickly become professional PMs. So the fact is, anyone who leads a project can name themselves as a project manager. But the challenge is to prove that you know project management. But I'll explain how to do it quickly and without certifications at the end of the video. So now let me introduce you to a strategy that helped me build my whole career. Enter microprojects. A microproject is a small improvement that you can do in your current environment. You can improve processes, documentation, and workflows. Also, you can teach others and help your boss achieve their goals. So here's an example of a micro project. As a technical support engineer, I noticed inefficiencies in the process of approving the emails I wrote every day. I did a quick analysis and created a set of email templates. And then I got confirmation from leadership that they don't require any approvals and could be sent to clients directly. It reduced the cost of 80% of emails by 95%. It was the first time our department could clear out all the requests we got. As a result, I got my first leadership and project management experience. And it was an outstanding achievement that opened the door to the role of a project manager. The fact is, it was a real project. The initiative I described falls under the standard definition of a project. It's just a small version of it, a micro project. As you can see, the opportunities for micro projects are limitless. Any company, any function has lots of inefficiencies, and you can take the initiative to improve something in your environment. The key here is to use simple project management approach and act as a project manager. It means you must manage stakeholders, and ideally you don't do the work yourself. Instead, you need to organize your peers and colleagues to help you. That's because you need to gain proven leadership skills while you have no authorial title. The most important thing about micro projects is that you probably have already done quite a lot of them in your previous jobs. So now you need to recollect all micro projects you did in your professional career and describe them from the project management perspective. And here's another powerful consideration. You see, you won't be able to describe your professional experience as responsibilities. Most likely, you can't claim that you planned projects, managed stakeholders, and did other typical PM responsibilities. That's why instead you need to describe your experience as achievements that highlight your understanding of project management and imply that you manage people. So, for example, the improvement I mentioned a minute ago ended up in my resume as the following achievement. Created a template answers database which resulted in 95 cost reduction for 80% of incoming requests. So as you can see, you can now position all your micro projects as indirect or even relevant experience of an unofficial project manager. But here's a problem as I see it. You may not have enough understanding of project management and knowledge of terminology to describe related and relevant experiences. Moreover, you won't pass an interview without basic knowledge of project management. So let me ask you this. Do you want to learn a proven project management approach that works in the real world with real people? I'm asking because you watched this long video for a reason. Maybe you want to become an IT project manager, but you don't know where to start, what to learn, and how to get your first job as a PM. Maybe you want to get into the IT industry, but you don't have technical skills, but you are a leader. So a project manager is a great role for you. Or maybe you have just learned that you are an unofficial project manager and you want to advance your career and become a professional project manager right away. In any case, as I see it, you have two options here. Option number one, you can get an expensive certification and spend several months to pass an exam, but it won't help you get the job you want. Option number two, you'll master a proven project management approach that will help you build a resume, pass an interview, and prepare yourself for the first project. And you are going to make this decision right now because it's a no-brainer option. My practical project management book is all you need to become a successful project manager. First of all, it teaches practical, real-world project management. It provides a lot of examples, stories that you can relate to. For example, here's how find it off. A project manager with the CAPM certification that we mentioned in this video already. Here's how she describes the book. Helps you understand how projects are actually done in practice. Second, this book covers all the knowledge you need to perform and describe micro projects. It will help you quickly build your new resume of a project manager. Third, it comes with templates and tools I used in my projects. It will help you understand how to implement different processes with tools any organization has. And you can use those templates on your first project. Third, this book costs just a fraction of any project management course that you can get. And here's what Holly shared about the book. I'm a mid-school teacher turned project manager. I struggled to find information in the PM field that was explained practically and could actually be applied. This book has been a lifesaver. As you can see, even if you don't have project management experience, this book will teach you how to lead project as a professional PM. The best thing about it is that knowledge you gain from this book is enough to run projects for the first few years of your career. Moreover, it's a super convenient way to learn project management. You can read the book on your phone during your commute to work, and you can read it during coffee breaks and in the evenings. So you don't need to dedicate huge amounts of time and money upfront to get a project manager job. You can start your career advancement right now with just this book. The Practical Project Management will teach you everything you need to know to be a successful project manager. The link is in the description. Get the book today and follow the strategy I shared in this video. Thanks for watching this video and good luck!